Well, hello and welcome everyone. This is my Blood Storage Necromancer. So, as items we are rocking Shaco, or life, armor, cooldown reduction, damage reduction, all these nice bonuses. As a chest piece, I use a normal chest piece with int and life and 6 essence per second to fix our essence problem that we have with the skill. And as a legendary aspect, I'm running the Embalmer aspect, because when we consume corpses, we generate blood orbs. And how do we consume corpses? With the Course Embrace gloves. So each time we cast Blood Surge, we explode corpses on the ground, and that consumes them, it deals extra damage, and then we have a decent chance to generate blood orbs. The gloves are pretty nice, they give us everything a Blood Surge build needs, increased percentage health, Blood Surge drains more often against elites, Blood Surge levels, and a bonus to the Tide of Blood passive. These gloves are not perfect when it comes to the rolls. I don't have a better one right now, but they suffice. And the pants are of course the Blood Moon breeches. Again, everything an overpower Blood Surge build needs, life overpower, bonus to curses, and a massive boost to overpower damage against cursed enemies. On the boots, I have int life and also essence per second to fix the essence issues, also stun, lucky hit chance, and movement speed. And as a legendary aspect, I use this Neo aspect that makes it so that curses become an aura, and so you basically constantly curse enemies with the Grapify and Iron Maiden. And I use Doombringer, it's perfect for this build, it gives us 100% additive damage, almost 200 to all our stats. That includes willpower, which gives us resource generation, which we need, more incoming healing, which we need, and overpower damage, so it's perfect. Damage reduction is nice, the chance to heal is kind of neglectable, but the proc chance to deal shadow damage is pretty nice, and it reduces enemy damage, so it's perfect for this build. As an amulet, I use this one, it gives us health, which is not perfect, but it's decent for an overpower build, because health increases our overpower damage, a chance to make enemies vulnerable, which is really cool, and also a bonus to amplify damage. I wish it had bonuses to Tides of Blood like the gloves, that would be cool, but it does not, unfortunately. It's not perfect, but it's serviceable at this point. Also tempered with resource cost reduction and blood attack speed, and I'm running the sacrificial aspect on it to increase our sacrifice bonuses. Then we have Ring of Starless Skies. That one is self-explanatory. It reduces the cost of our core abilities and gives us all great bonuses like attack speed, crit, lucky hit. It's perfect for this build. On this ring I have int, max life, overpower damage, reduce resource, increase resource generation actually, and overpower damage, and we are running the Rathmas aspect to gain more attack speed once we overpower. And on this one we are running the aspect that gives us an additional Blood Nova for a little bit less damage. The focus itself is not really that good, it's just life, increased damage, crit. I wish it had int instead of increased damage, but well, it's alright. Increased blood attack speed and more Blood Nova size. Also completes this build. And when it comes to the sacrifices, we pick this one for more crit chance. On the mages, we pick the last one for more overpower damage, it's multiplicative. And we pick Iron Golem for multiplicative crit damage. You can also pick Blood Golem for 25% more life, it gives you more additive damage, makes you tankier, but I realized that the build lacks damage, especially versus tough single targets. So I dropped this one for the extra damage, and you can really feel the difference, and it feels so much better if you can just clear stuff faster and suddenly start dealing significant damage against single targets. Now, in the skill tree, it looks like this. 1 point into Hemorrhage and in the upgrade. I also use the skill from time to time, especially against bosses, so I can regain some essence in between when my essence is going low. So That's helpful. And of course 5 points into Blood Surge and into the upgrades, and into this one, into the Paranormal Blood Surge to generate overpower stacks. Then 3 points go into Healed Flesh, so we have a small chance to generate a corpse, really useful against bosses because it's also doubled against bosses. And we want to have these corpses so we can explode them, which is useful because when we do that, we generate some essence and we gain a 9% damage buff. I only need 1 point in Spiked Armor to reach the armor cap. 1 point goes into Blood Mist to CC break and into the upgrade to reduce Blood Mist cooldown when we overpower. And since we overpower a lot in this build, this one is off cooldown almost all the time. 3 points go into Death's Embrace for more damage reduction and extra damage. I have 7 in Amplify thanks to the amulet. Gives us good damage against cursed enemies. 1 point into Decrepify, its basic upgrade, and the Abhorrent at Decrepify upgrade, so we can reduce cooldowns when we hit an enemy. Also 1 point into Iron Maiden and the upgrade to generate essence when we curse an enemy, so we can get some extra essence back in fights. Then we pick the extra healing from here. More blood skill damage while we're healthy, more overpower damage, a little bit of Drain Vitality to regain some Fortify, and Transfusion to have a small chance to generate additional blood orbs. Here we pick the crit chance and damage reduction here, and bonus to our sacrifices for skeleton warriors and mages. And we get Bone Storm, the damage reduction upgrade, and the crit chance bonus while Bone Storm is up. And our notable passive is of course Rathma's Vigor. Every 12 seconds we overpower, and this 12-second timer gets reduced by 2 each time we heal ourselves with our blood orbs by like about 8k life. And since we generate a lot of blood orbs, this stuff gets triggered quite a lot. So when you kill enemies, you have a bunch of corpses on the ground, and you use 1 more Blood Surge and you explode all these corpses. Thanks to the armor, you get a ton of blood orbs on the ground, on the floor, and then you collect these blood orbs and then you reset the cooldown of Rathma's Vigor. So then you get more overpowers. Then let's have a quick look at the Paragon board. So you start by picking these nodes here: life and resist, life and damage. And as a first glyph, I pick Amplify, which gives us 10% multiplicative damage against cursed enemies. I also pick a few of these nodes here because it buffs magic nodes for extra damage. Then the first board we get is Bloodbath because it gives us a ton of overpower damage. I also pick these life and fortify damage nodes here. As a glyph, I have Essence in this one because it gives us almost 200% crit strike damage and a multiplicative crit damage bonus. And yeah, a little bit of fortify damage here. And I also pick these nodes because they give us a nice boost to overpower damage. Next board is Blood Begets Blood, because we get up to a 50% damage bonus when we pick up blood orbs, 10% per orb, and since we generate a ton of orbs, we can always get this buff, and once the buff is at 5 stacks, you just have to pick up another blood orb to keep the buff going. It's really great, and right next to it we also have a ton of overpower damage that we can grab. Also grabbed a little bit of extra damage when we pick up blood orbs. As a glyph, I use Sacrificial because it gives us 10% multiplicative damage while we have no minions and we don't play with minions. It also buffs magic nodes in the vicinity, and these magic nodes here are overpower damage nodes, so they also get buffed by this. Picked a little bit of life here, and then I went into the Scent of Death board. The notable gives us damage reduction when there are corpses next to us, and the damage bonus when there are no corpses next to us. And since we explode corpses all the time, this gives us lots of damage versus bosses. Then we have some life here. And as a glyph, I use the Dominate glyph for extra overpower damage and a bit of multiplicative damage once we overpowered. And in order to get more damage out of this, I picked all the willpower nodes here and a little bit of extra damage against injured enemies. And last but not least, we go into the Flesh Eater board. Once we consume 5 corpses, we get a 40% damage boost for 6 seconds. I also picked up a little bit of damage here because I had some points left. And as a glyph, I use Corporeal in here. It gives us 10% more physical damage, and Blood Surge deals physical damage. And it buffs magic nodes, so we can fix our resists with this boost, and we get some extra damage against elite enemies. And yeah, that's basically the Paragon board. So when it comes to the abilities on my hotbar, I put the Grabify on it so I can manually curse enemies that are far away. I almost never use that, but there are rare cases in which I do that. Yeah, I have Blood Mist, of course, to CC Break and Bone Storm. And I also use Bone Prison. It's not really that useful, but yeah, let's say in the overworld you can hold and catch goblins with it, though you probably one-shot them anyway, so it's not really that useful. But it's more useful than the other abilities currently. You don't need Corpse Explosion or Corpse Tendrils because you destroy all the corpses, so you could also run with like empty slots in your skill tree if you want to. And yeah, I use Hemorrhage to, from time to time, regenerate some essence, and of course Blood Surge. And what you basically do is you pop Bone Storm, you jump into your enemies, and you start spamming your Blood Surge. And as you can see, the cooldown timer on Bone Storm is going down, thanks to the Grabify curse. Each time we hit an enemy, we have a lucky hit chance to reduce our cooldowns, and that means versus large packs, we can keep our Bone Storm up all the time. And yeah, it's a pretty amazing build. It's pretty cool for farming these arenas. You can clear out enemies quite quickly. Only the boss deeps is a little bit lackluster, but since this build is so mega tanky, like I have 85k health, and if I use a health elixir, I have even over 100k health. And yeah, the build is super tanky, and these bosses are very easy, and you can basically semi-AFK play this build and don't have to think about it a lot, so it's very convenient to play, and I'm currently having a ton of fun with this build. So if you like it, give it a go and try it yourself. It's actually pretty cool. And yeah, if you enjoyed this build guide and this video, consider leaving a like or a sub if you want, and well, have a nice day. Bye bye.